Here's a huge tip on how to get work done faster in Excel. One of the biggest time wasters that I often hear about in Excel is not being able to find the commands that you need when you need them. Excel has a lot of commands, and a good deal of them are on the ribbon, but not all of them. And some of them are hidden under launchers. Launchers are those little arrows on the lower right-hand side of some of the groups that you have in your ribbon, letting you know that there's more information or more commands beyond what you see. Well, if you want a fast way to find the commands that you need, my best advice that I can offer you is to just create your own tab in the ribbon. And as a matter of fact, after you create the tab, you can then go in and make it be the first tab that pops up when you open up Excel. That way you don't even have to look through the Home, Insert, Page Layout, Formula tabs, and so on. So here's how you create your own tab. First, you want to make sure that you're in the Excel options window. And there's a couple of different ways to get there, but the fastest way is just to right mouse click on the ribbon and make sure that you right mouse click somewhere where there's no command, a blank area. And then you're going to choose, second from the bottom, customize the ribbon. And that brings up your Excel options. Well, notice on the right-hand side, these are all the tabs that you have available. There's your Home tab, Insert tab. There's even a Developer tab, which isn't showing right now, but you can always check it and that will pop it up. Well, I want to create my own tab. So down here at the bottom, I'm going to go ahead and click on New Tab. My new tab pops up in the list. Now, it always highlights new group first. The first thing I like to do is to click on new tab and then change the name. I don't actually want to have a new tab called new tab. So I click on new tab custom and I come back down to the bottom and click on rename. And I will give this my name and click on OK. Now I can click on new group custom. So the group is how you organize your commands in the ribbon. Like we've got the clipboard group, the editing group, and so on. And you can rename this as well. So whether you work a lot with charts, I don't know, maybe you want to call this chart, and then put all of your well-used chart commands in here. Or if you deal with pivot tables, you can have some pivot table commands. You can call it pivot table. Or you might want to have one called formatting or macros, whatever you want to call it. I'll call this one formatting because maybe there's specific formatting that I do a lot. So I'll come down here to rename and call it formatting. Now I always tell people that these little buttons here, they're so cute and feel free to click on them. They're not going to show up next to the name, but feel free to click on one if you want to. All right, I'll go ahead and click on OK. So now I have my formatting group. You know what? I'm going to add another group as well. Maybe I run a lot of weekly reports. So this time I'll create a new group and rename it, and I'll call this weekly reports and click on OK. And I can keep going in, adding in more new groups and renaming them. I can even change the order that they appear. I can have formatting show up after weekly reports. I can have formatting show up before weekly reports, either way. All right, so as far as formatting goes, I want to go ahead and add in commands to this group. So I want to make sure that formatting is selected. Then on the left-hand side of the window here, I see my commands. Now, these aren't all the commands in Excel. These are just the most popular commands in Excel. So you could take a look through this first to see if there's anything that you need. So maybe I need fill color. I'll click on that and then add that. Now it's in formatting. And I do a lot of conditional formatting, so I'll choose that and click on add. I can also left click and drag over. I'll also choose Format Painter. This time I will left click and drag over just to show you that you can place it there as well. Again, these are just popular commands. I'm going to click on the drop down and I'm going to change it to all commands. All right, so there are a ton of commands here. I can scroll up and down and show you how many commands are here. And maybe I want to add the recolor command. Well, I could scroll all the way down to the R's, or just to save some time, I can click on any one of these commands and then hit the R on my keyboard, and that'll at least take me down to the beginning of the R's. So I can find recolor and either click on add or drag that in. Now my commands can be rearranged as well, just by clicking on one of them and then using the up or down arrows to move them in the list. All right, now if I want to add some commands to weekly report, I just click on weekly reports. Remember, that's my other group. And this time I'll add in maybe the email command. So I'll click on E and I will email as a PDF attachment. I can just drag that in there or click on add. So you get it. It's just a matter of finding what you need from here, clicking on it, choosing add, or dragging over. All right, so it looks good so far, but the other thing that I said that I wanted to do was to make sure that this was the first tab that pops up when I open up Excel. So I'll click on my name, that's the name of the entire tab, and I'll use my up arrow to move it above home. All right, I'll click on OK. There you go. Now my Isabel tab is the first tab. I've got my formatting group and my weekly reports group. And I can just go in and add more and more commands to this tab. I can even go in and add more tabs. Now, if you create something like this at work, your coworker is going to no doubt see this and be like, wow, that is the coolest thing ever. How did you do that? You have a couple of different options. You can tell them to take my Udemy course. That's always a good option. You can create the tab for them, or you can actually email them this tab. I mean, as long as they need most of the same commands that you have. I'll show you how to email out this tab to them. I'm going to right mouse click on my ribbon again and go back to customize the ribbon. And down at the bottom right, you've got the import export button. You can choose to export all customizations. Now what that's going to do is open up your Save As dialog box. It's going to create a UI or a user interface file. It's a pretty small text file. You would just go ahead and save it somewhere where you know that you'll be able to locate it again. And then you email that file off to them, just like you would email any other file. Now, on their side, they would open up the email, they would download that UI attachment, they would download that file, have it on their desktop or their C drive somewhere. Then they would come into Excel options, just like how I have open right here. They would go back down to Import Export, and this time they would import customization file. They would find that file wherever it's located, give a click, and then click on Open. It's going to ask if they want to replace all the existing customizations for this program. So here's a word of caution, because if they already have customization set up, they might not want to override it. Okay, so that's the one thing to be aware of. It will override their current customizations. But if they don't and they want to go ahead and add this to their Excel, they can go ahead and click on Yes, that's fine. And then they have that tab. Now, the only thing that they would probably want to do is to go in and change the name, maybe from your name to their name, just by clicking on it and choosing Rename. And of course, they can go in and either add in more commands to each group and add in new groups, or they can get rid of commands just by clicking on them and then choosing Remove. All right, now if there comes a point where you don't need your custom tabs anymore or just want to reset Excel's ribbon back to the way it was when you first got it, you can always come down to Customizations, click on Reset, and reset all customizations. And then click on Yes, and it takes it back to the default out-of-the-box version of the Excel ribbon. But that's a pretty cool trick, and it's a great time saver. Probably one of the best time savers that I know. Creating your own tab in the ribbon. Again, it's just a matter of right mouse clicking, going to customize the ribbon, and on the right hand side choosing new tab, renaming it, adding in your commands into different groups.